Being, we're live. It's Sam Thomas. Here we are. Just going to go to screen one. I'm here. I'm pairing with we're doing a four-way here at Makers Academy, and a lot of people in the room and things going on. Just thought I'd jump in. Thomas, how are things with you?
I'm fine, thank you. I had a little problem before with some scopes that I couldn't get to work, but it turned out that again, when I was writing the Stack Overflow question, the answer came to me, so I figured it out by myself. I was just using it wrong.
Yeah, there we go. Good stuff. Rubber ducking, it is the way forward.
Yes, sir. So I'm just taking a break from my work and wanted to check in with you. Much has happened since last time we spoke this morning.
No.
Apart from I got a question from the people where here at Chalmers Innovation within this incubator, if I wanted to hold a talk in a few weeks' time about pair programming and remote pair programming, especially. So on a weekend, and my question to you would be, if that is something that you could potentially break your rule of never touching a computer on weekends and perhaps participate in via Google Hangout. If we could set something up.
Yeah, I think that might be difficult for me at the weekend. I think we could probably more realistically find someone like me who's also available at the weekend, such as Michael or John or Marianne, who'd probably do a better job of pair programming. I think it's my family life is sort of hanging in the balance really. So
absolutely, no, that's why I asked, because just hook
sure,
basically.
Yeah, no, it sounds like a great thing to do. I noticed Amjad has joined us. Hey, Amjad, welcome. Feel free to just watch and observe, Amjad, and ask questions in a bit. Thomas, yeah. So,
hi.
Oh, hello, Amjad. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. How about you?
Great. Welcome to the AtlanticScrum. Thomas is here. Thomas was just giving us an overview on what he's doing, talking about a weekend, opportunities to do some pairing at the weekend. Anything else from your side, Thomas, at the moment?
Not much. Nothing. So I'm done.
I guess I'll just mention a couple of things from my side. I'm here pairing at Makers today. We're doing it all Sinatra and tracking and so on going on. I also, though, we've got a new project on Agile Ventures, which is a Node.js project. It's this pair programming tool. A couple of one Makers graduates and one Makers senior are working on this, which is quite cool, and they've got some code up already. So hoping to we'll use that in company, but it's also an open source project. Hopefully more on that coming soon.
What is it about? Interesting.
It's basically about so they've had, I don't know if you saw, well, there's a new chat, there's a new room. If we go to, probably the easiest way to show you what's going on is if we look here, there's a pair programming tool thing. This promiscuous pairing challenge, which basically this was a board that was up for one of the previous cohorts, basically with everybody trying to pair with everybody else in the same Makers cohort. And so I think what they're talking about, what they're doing with this project is making an online version of that. So you can kind of, in a group of people, see who you've paired with, and the system would kind of make suggestions about who are other good people to pair with that you haven't paired with yet, if that makes sense.
It does. It does.
Yeah. So I think that's a nice little thing, and there's all sorts of things we want to use that for in Makers, and hopefully that will, it's nice to have a Node.js project on the board.
I mean, this sounds like something we could potentially incorporate as an engine or something into website one.
Absolutely. Yes, and you can see that. Denise and Spike are they're the two people involved in that, so that's cool. Good to see them all connected in. On that note, I was going to mention briefly to put some things into your mind, Thomas. If I can find the right things. Oh, here we go. Yeah, just some thoughts I was having over the weekend. Partly one of the things that happened over the weekend is the guys have been upgrading local support to Rails 4. I was also wondering about the website 1. Do you, somewhere in the back of your mind, Thomas, have any appetite for thinking about transferring website 1 into Node.js, or possibly even doing it on Sinatra or Padrino? What would you think about a rewrite of website 1 in a slightly different technology?
A complete makeover?
Well, I mean, a makeover in. I'm not so worried about it looking completely different. I'm just wondering about. I mean, one of the things I'm thinking about for the local support is kind of a restart. Um, I mean, the guys have now sort of done it over to Rails 4. I feel like, projects acquire a certain amount of just sort of stuff and crud over time. And, almost I was sort of thinking about using the Rails 4 upgrade as an excuse to start with a clean Rails 4 project and only add in the specific things that we know that we need. Do you know what I mean? And anyway, I don't know what your. I mean, are you happy with WSO on Rails forever? Are you excited about like kind of exploring some other stacks? I mean, you did some stuff on Padrino recently, right?
Yeah. Well, of course, I am interested in new technologies, and I would say that if we would abandon Rails right now, it would mean that we need to, excuse me, rewrite a lot of code. And what I just spontaneously, I would have to think about it, but spontaneously I think that what we could do is to have a look at for instance, this pair programming tool being a Node.js project. If we could if we could add that as a feature to website one, or if we want to pursue this, because I still have back in my mind, once we're done with events and all the other important stuff on website one, I have a vision of the pair programming schedule and all that stuff, hooking people together. I'm very open to write that in a based on some other technology like Node.js or Angular or whatever.
Sure.
But I don't feel spontaneously that redoing the whole thing in another technology would add anything specific other than the learning experience, of course, that would come with it.
Yeah, but I think would it not also possibly give the opportunity to throw out things that are not necessary?
Absolutely.
I think that's where, I mean, at least the way I'm looking at local support is there's a lot of stuff that was kind of needed at one time or another, but is now not. And the problem is that there's a sort of inertia to sort of just stick with that stuff, and build things on the top of it, and you kind of get into sort of a complex ball of stuff that's then kind of dragging you down. Anyway, I just wanted to,
I think about it. We can talk about this. Because as always, let's not. I mean, I don't want to do things just for the sake of doing it, but if
sure.
it adds value to the project itself, yes. I mean, there are stuff, because I'm not happy with the way website one is right now, and there are so many things, in process of being done that I think will make this tool much better. But so yeah, well, I'm not in a position to abandon everything.
We can bring it up in a different meeting, after we've had a chance to reflect.
But it's an interesting thought, so thanks for bringing it up.
And I've got a few other bits and pieces that I could mention, but I think what I will do is just go to Amjad now and say, how are things with you? Welcome to the AtlanticScrum. Amjad, this is your first Scrum. Now, I think you were mentioning you were interested in getting involved in a non-profit project that was using Java.
Yeah, I am new in this Agile Adventures, so I am looking for a non-profit Java project to contribute.
Sure.
Because could you help me about any project that work with Java?
Well, so you can see sort of the list of projects that we've got that are currently going on. I don't think that any of them at the moment are using Java as their main language, but that doesn't mean that one couldn't be started. And in fact, anybody can come into Agile Ventures, including yourself. And if you're signed in and you click this plus button here, you can create a new project. We do also have a list of actually recently, like, new non-profit organizations who want help building things. So, we could potentially put you in touch with people, although I think usually we'd recommend against saying, that one should be using a particular technology. Like, Java is one kind of tool, and I think if you're building an Android app, then Java is clearly the way forwards. But I think if you're trying to do, what one ideally doesn't go to a non-profit and say, I'm going to make you a solution, always in this particular language. I mean, I guess you've got particular experience in Java. That's the language that you feel strongest in.
Yeah, I have working experience with Java framework like Spring, Hibernate, also REST API, Sublet, JSP,
Mm-hmm,
uh,
mm-hmm.
and C and Basic C. So basically, I am interested to participate on any Spring framework or REST API with Jersey
Mm-hmm.
or Sublet or JSP or
Mm.
Hibernate, anything related on this.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, I say I don't think we have any active projects that are using those at the moment. But if you would be interested, I mean, would you be interested in starting a project and working with a nonprofit to build them a solution using that technology?
Sorry, I could not get your point.
I said I think we haven't got any projects that are currently using that technology stack. But would you be interested in working with a nonprofit on a new project and building them something in Java using Hibernate and JSP and so on?
Yeah, I can.
You'd be interested in starting. Yeah, I mean, do you have any project management experience?
Yeah, just but I'm not fully lead on any project, but I have worked with 2 or 4 people.
Yeah,
Just
sure. Oh, that's fine. And yeah, I mean, how much time do you think you can commit to such a project over the next weeks and months?
uh, mm, sorry, what it was?
I said, how much over the next weeks and months, how much time do you have to commit to a project? Maybe 2 hours a week or 10 hours a week, or how much time are you thinking of being able to put in?
Yeah, okay. I have 2 days weekend, so that's why I will be able to commit uh,
Oh,
weekly
uh
2 days, 2 days full time, like 8 hours per day, so
okay.
16
Yeah.
hours.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like I say, I think what we would have to do is work out a session for you to get talking to, as I say, some of these. We've got some new non-profits coming in who are looking for people to build things for them, and we could maybe put you in touch with them. Um, I don't know. I don't know how did you hear about Agile Ventures originally? Amjad, how did you hear about Agile Ventures?
Yeah, I have heard it from my friend. Uh, he also a member of Agile Adventure.
Oh, great.
Last day he informed me about this, and
Mm,
I instantly I have joined with this. Basically, I have trying to share my knowledge and also
mm,
get knowledge from others who are
great.
just. I have instantly joined with this agile adventure.
Mm, mm. No, that's great. I mean, I think for the Agile Ventures, as you may know, has been kind of created partly as around an online course that you might have heard of at edX called Engineering Software as a Service. Have you seen that course at all?
No.
Oh, so I mean, that's something I've pasted a link
Yeah,
into the
yeah,
group
yes.
chat.
SAS model. I have familiar with SAS model, software as a service,
Yeah.
and I have also worked with 2 projects on SAS model.
Mm, mm. So I mention it partly because so a lot of the people who are involved in Agile Ventures have come through this course and they've, learnt agile software development, particularly using Ruby on Rails. And so quite a lot of our projects are Ruby on Rails. I used to work with Java a long time ago. I got quite frustrated at how difficult it was to make progress in Java, although, I know it's improved over time. But so I guess for me there would be a slight concern in developing a Java system that it's more difficult to follow the agile methodology with that. So in some ways it might be easier for us to help you kind of come up to speed with some of the with the scripting languages like Ruby and JavaScript. But if you're particularly keen to do and run a sort of a Java project. I think it would be. We're trying to get, as you just saw, we've got a new Node project, which is JavaScript. We want to have, projects in all different languages going on, so people who've got skills can sort of contribute and get together. So if you were to start a Java project, then I think other people who are also interested in Java could come and get involved, and hopefully that would be a good thing. Yeah. Well, I think I probably need to wrap up the Scrum for now. It's great to meet you, Amjad. I think what we'll try and have an event maybe later in the week where we kind of let people know more about the new charity organizations that are coming in and asking for help. Does that sound? No, does that make sense?
It sounds like a good idea. Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, Amjad, I guess probably the thing to do might be to try and, like, you're in the Slack. You might want to just start chatting with people, maybe in the AV Community Talk channel, about seeing if there's anybody else who's interested in a Java project, and try and recruit other developers who might be interested in doing Java things.
Okay, fine.
And yeah, and I'll come back to you later in the week, hopefully with some non-profits you can talk to. Okay, all right. Well, I think that's the Scrum. Unless there's anything else, I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Absolutely, Sam. Take it easy.
All right, take care. Nice to meet you, Amjad. Bye for now.
Bye.